This video is for the Mandala Project. Before I get going on this, I do want to say this is going to be a bit longer than my usual videos, so I want to for all of you to keep that in mind. Please, you can pause and rewind as you need to, obviously. I would also say you may not need to watch all of it. Okay. That being said, we are going to create a new file, and this new file is going to be slightly different than what we've been doing. So we are going to come in here. Let's go ahead and call it Mandala. Now, a mandala is, simply put, it's a circular design. It's patterns that are going to radiate around a center point. You should have gotten a handout. If you haven't, please ask for one, and there should be a sample on there of what you should be looking at. Make sure that you're working in inches, and then we're going to change our width and our height to 10 by 10. We want it to be square. Okay, and then go ahead and click create. All right, the first thing that we need to do is we really need to figure out our center point on this, and that will make things a little bit simpler. So we want to see our rulers on here. And the easiest way to do that is to press Command, or in your case, the window key, and R, okay? And so now we have our rulers kind of running through here. Now, if I were to control and click on the rulers, you want to make sure that that's also in inches. Sometimes it will default to something else, but you want to make sure that it looks like it's 10 by 10. Okay, with that, we are going to draw some guides in here. So it really doesn't matter what tool you're on, but you're going to take your mouse and you're going to put it right on that ruler. It doesn't matter what number you're on at all, just on top of the ruler. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drag it down, and we are going to drop a guide at the 5 on both sides. So if you look to the left ruler, you should be able to see that it's kind of lining up with that 5, and then I'm going to let that go. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to do another one going this way. All right. Now, as it stands, I can grab this guide and kind of move it around, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to kind of select them both, okay? And then I'm going to lock that guide. So I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to go down to Lock, and I'm going to go and just hit Selection, okay? The shortcut for it is the window symbol and 2, just for later if you want to know that. But what that's going to do is it's going to make these this like light blue, but now I can't click on these and move them around, so it won't get confusing. Okay, so that's our center, and everything is going to rotate around that center. And for this project, I want you guys to think of having 10 bands that run around that center. Now, some of your bands are going to be complicated, and you might have a few that are simple. But what I really want you guys to try to steer away from is basic shapes. So if you think of these projects as a test, what that means is I want you to show me what you've learned. So you haven't just learned the rotate tool. You've also learned how to take shapes, right? And then how to use your Pathfinder to make more complicated shapes. So let me clean this up and make it work the way I want it to. So I'm just making my workspace the Essentials Classic workspace, and I'm also going to open my Pathfinder, okay? And I'll just move that kind of over here. All right, okay, so let's make a few shapes just to get started. Maybe I'm going to start with a ellipse, and we did this during class, so this might be just something to kind of refresh your memory a little bit. I'm going to have a black stroke and a white fill, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make sort of like a flower petal. So you're basically going to be watching me create a mandala. Okay, so again, like I said, watch this for as much as you need to. I'm going to use that anchor point tool, and I'm not dragging. Okay, that's super important. I'm clicking once, and I'm clicking once at the bottom. Now, because I did that, I kind of separated the top from the bottom. So I need to come in here and select both parts, okay? I know it looks like it already was. It wasn't, though. Okay, now, if I wanted this to rotate around my center point, okay, what I would do is I would double click on this rotate tool. So here is the rotate tool. I'm going to double click on this. All right, so 360, because that's how many degrees are in a circle. That slash, so that's basically your divided by. And let's say I want this to go around 10 times. And that, you know, that could have been really easy math, but it's not always like that. And then I'm just going to hit copy, okay? And then command or window in your case, D, will basically rotate that around. All right, so that is rotating it around the center. And let's say I actually don't want to have a white fill. Maybe I want to have no fill. So if I get rid of the fill, that's that like red line through it. Now I get to see all those lines kind of going through. And that is kind of a cool center for this. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Okay, just so you can see the difference. So I'm making that oval shape. I am using that anchor point tool, clicking on either end, grabbing my black arrow, selecting it, right? And then a single click on the rotate tool. This is where things start getting a little different. So a single click on the rotate tool. Now I'm going to hold my Alt key down on my keyboard, and I'm going to click where I actually want it to rotate around. So I'm going to go right to this bottom point. I'm going to click one time. Okay, so I'm still going to do the 360 divided by 10, copy, okay, and this time Command D. So this is what it looks like. This is the difference. So I can pick, I don't have to do this, but I can do this. I think I like this one on the right a little bit more. So I'm going to make this my first center. I'm actually going to make it a bit smaller because I have to fit 10 rings going around this thing. So that's a lot. So I'm just going to kind of get that right there. Okay. As far as this one goes, I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay. So now I need things that will kind of go around this. So let's create some shapes. Let's see. I kind of liked the idea of doing maybe another type of thing here. So let's see. Maybe that. And then maybe I want to get rid of some of parts of it. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, we'll just kind of do this because I only want that top bit. So I am going to subtract that square from the bottom shape by minusing the front. So now I just have that piece. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and take that and I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. And I'm going to drag this, and maybe I just want that to be lined up right there. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count how many of these I want. So if I want one of these on every point, so I got, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's what we had done before, so 10. I'm going to click once on the rotate tool, and then I'm going to option click on that center point, because that's what I want it to rotate around. Okay, 360 divided by 10, hit copy, and then, okay, so there's another ring, right? So I have 1 and now I have 2. Well, let's say maybe I want to change things up a little bit. So let's say making a perfect square. Okay, let's maybe try rotating this 45 degrees. Great. I'm going to actually attempt to duplicate. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to give that a fill. Now I'm choosing to work with black and white in mind. That is totally up to you. Okay, I'm subtracting that front, so now I end up with this piece. Okay, and I think I want to do sort of like a chevron type of pattern here. We'll do 3 of them. Okay, now this is going to get a little tricky. We'll see how tricky it gets. And let's say I want to put that right there. Now, if I wanted it to actually go here, that's the part that it gets kind of tricky, is like how much do you rotate it to make sure it rotates around completely? That's up to you. I would say probably keep to simpler shapes in that space, but again, your call. Okay, that is selected. One time on the rotate tool. Alt, click on that center point. Same deal. The degrees are already in there. You're good. I'm just going to go ahead and hit copy. And then again, send it around. Okay. Now let's say maybe I want something to go in here. Okay, maybe I want something more in this space. So let's see. Maybe I just want to do, and this might just be part of that row still. Okay, maybe I'm not quite ready to. So let's see. Maybe I just want another rectangle. Okay. I'm going to make this actually black with no stroke. This piece is actually going to go right here, but I want it smaller. Why am I putting it here instead of over here? Because I don't want to mess with the switching of the degrees, okay? So I'm putting it here to kind of help myself out a little bit. And I'm actually going to put it all the way up here. Okay, so got it selected. One time on the rotate tool. Press Alt and click where I want it to rotate around. Go ahead and hit copy. Okay, so at this point, I am not going to keep like going and going and going. What I want you to do is keep basic shapes to a minimum. So the square that I just drew, totally fine, but I do want you to try to manipulate shapes as you go, okay? So for example, like what I did here, what I did here, what I did here, manipulate those shapes. Now, if you keep these, so I was always dividing the 360 by 10 because I do want some white space. If you overlap too much, like say you do 360 divided by 100 and everything is so tight that it all just ends up looking black, that's not going to be enough white space. You have to give yourself some space to breathe. So please make sure you do that, okay? And then you want 10 rows to go around. So this first one is 1. I would actually consider this to be like kind of the same, right? So this would be 2, and then maybe you have 3. So a lot of it is kind of eyeballing it. I would say what your goal is just to really fill this space as best as you can, okay? So I'm not going to be a major stickler for the 10 bands around there, but do the best you can. Okay, I hope that helps all of you. When you are ready, remember, you will, I would say save it first, so save it, and then go ahead and export it as a PNG, okay? But saving it, just in case you don't do it correctly when I see you, that will allow you to come back and edit it. If you just export it, you can't edit it anymore, okay? So save a copy for yourself, and then also export it if you're ready to submit. Okay, that's it. Hopefully that helps all of you, and good luck. Have fun with this.